this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
Welcome in, everyone, to Lively Lewis Stories.
That's right. We're back with even more awesome adventures with Levi and Ivy.
Set your storytime meter to fun and get ready to join the Lively Lewis crew.
All you need is your imagination and...
Off we go! I can't wait to see where our story takes us today.
Have you ever wanted to get more Lively Lewis in your life?
Well, we've got you covered.
Grab an adult and zoom over to livelylewisshop.com.
Or just click on the link in our show notes.
Enough about that. Let's get to today's super Lively Lewis story.
Too Much Chocolate, Part 1. The story you're about to enjoy was inspired by Eliza. Thank you so much for your amazing idea. If there was one thing that Ivy loved to eat, it was chocolate. And not just one type of chocolate. All types of chocolate. Chocolate bars, chocolate lollipops, chocolate-covered gummy bears, and even chocolate shaped like animals, cars, vegetables, and even bugs. As long as it was chocolate, it was for her. But it was getting to be a bit of a problem. Ivy had always liked chocolate, but she had never craved it before until last Halloween, when an epic candy haul had her looking for the sweet treat all day, every day. So on one particular day, after her second visit to the dentist in 2 weeks to have a cavity filled, her parents decided it was time to put a stop to Ivy's chocolate chaos. They also needed to keep a better eye on her toothbrushing, but that was a different story. "Ivy, your mom and I need to talk to you," said Ivy's dad when they got home from the dentist. "Yep, hold on 1 minute. I'm just looking for a snack," called Ivy as she rummaged through the cupboards in the kitchen. Getting that cavity filled made me hungry. As Ivy searched through the shelf after shelf, her parents decided to meet her in the kitchen. "Do you know where my chocolate bucket is?" asked Ivy. And if you don't have a chocolate bucket at home, it's exactly what it sounds like. A bucket filled with every different type of chocolate you can think of. Her parents, trying to be nice after Halloween, let Ivy have a little piece of chocolate each day. They didn't think much of it because Ivy had never been that big of a fan of chocolate. But as days turned into weeks, Ivy started sneaking chocolate all throughout the day. It became her favorite food, and no one could stop her from devouring the sweet treat. Then before her parents knew it, they had created a chocolate monster, which was pretty fitting since it all started with Halloween candy. "Ivy, you can stop looking for your chocolate basket," said Ivy's mom, knowing very well what Ivy's reaction would be when she told her where her tasty chocolatey snacks went. "Yes, Ivy, you can stop looking because your chocolate isn't in there," began her dad, looking a bit nervous. "We threw it out." Ivy stopped her search and slowly turned around to face her parents. "I'm sorry, I don't think I heard you correctly," Ivy said with a forced giggle. "It sounded like you threw out my chocolate, and since you know how much I love chocolate, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that because it would make me so sad. And I know you don't want me to be sad, right?" The look on Ivy's face turned into a worried frown as she realized that her parents were telling her the truth. "Oh no. Oh no. Why would you throw out my chocolate?" exclaimed Ivy as she plopped down in one of the kitchen chairs. "Am I being punished for something?" "No, Ivy, you didn't do anything wrong." "Well, not exactly," said her mom, sitting down next to her at the kitchen table. "We did." "She's right, Ivy. We let you have chocolate every day, and that started a bad habit," her dad explained. "You started out having one little piece a day, then it was 2 pieces, then more and more and more. We should have stopped you a while ago. I mean, you just got home from getting a cavity filled because of all the chocolate you're eating. And the first thing you did was look for more chocolate. Eating too much chocolate isn't good for you," added Ivy's mom. "It can make you cranky, give you cavities, and make it hard for you to sleep because of all the sugar. We're sorry, but right now we think it's best for you to lay off the chocolate for a bit. A piece here and there is totally fine. I mean, I love chocolate too, but eating it every day just isn't great for you," said Ivy's dad. Ivy was so shocked that she couldn't even think of what to say. She just sat there thinking of her favorite chocolates and how much she was going to miss them. "Ivy, we need you to say something," said her mom. "You're not being punished. You can have chocolate again, just not right now." "There has to be something else you can eat," suggested her dad as he got up and opened the fridge. "How about some grapes or string cheese? You used to love those snacks. Or some graham crackers or pretzels," added Ivy's mom. "No, thank you," said Ivy in a sad voice as she stood up. "I'm not hungry all of a sudden. I know I was eating too much chocolate, and I know you're just trying to do what's best for me, but I'm going to need a minute to think all this over. Ivy's parents were happy with the way their daughter was handling the new chocolate shortage, and they decided it would be best to let her try and work through it on her own to start out. "We're here if you need any snack suggestions," said Ivy's mom with a little smile. "Okay, thank you," said Ivy in a soft voice as she walked into the living room where Levi had been listening to her conversation with their parents. "I heard the whole thing," he said as Ivy sat down next to him on the couch. "Sorry about that, but maybe I can make you something tasty to eat. Do you want to try my latest combination? Pickles and raisins. Sounds strange, but oddly enough, it works." Levi definitely had what Ivy would politely call a unique diet. When she wasn't being polite, she would say he eats some really weird food. "No, thanks. I think I'm going to go for a walk," said Ivy. So she told her parents she'd be back in a bit and headed out to think about her world without chocolate. As Ivy walked, she kind of lost track of where she was. The only thing swirling around in her were thoughts of chocolate, and before she knew it, she was standing in front of a store. A store she had been many times before. It was Charlotte's Chocolate Shop. Ivy had never been happier or sadder to see the little shop before. She pressed her nose up against the window and stared inside at every kind of chocolate you could imagine. As Ivy looked inside the little shop, she thought about one thing. "I'm sure Mom and Dad wouldn't be upset if I had just one little teeny tiny nibble of chocolate, right?" Ivy thought to herself. "After all, they did take all my chocolate, which means I'm going to be having way less than I normally would. So surely having one little taste right now would be fine." The more Ivy stared at the chocolate inside the little shop, the more she believed what she was saying. Then before she knew it, she was reaching for the door handle and walking inside. However, Charlotte, who owned the chocolate shop, was nowhere to be found. Ivy even called out to her to see if she was in the back, but no one answered. Knowing that she couldn't just take a piece of chocolate without paying for it, she frowned and turned to walk out. That's when she saw a small silver tray sitting on a table by the door. The tray was piled high with pieces of chocolate and a tiny sign that said, "Free samples. Take one." Ivy didn't even give it a second thought as she grabbed a piece of chocolate. As she nibbled the sweet treat, enjoying every little bit of it, Charlotte walked out from the back room. "Hi, Ivy. How long have you been here? Sorry I didn't come out before. I was working on a new chocolate creation in the back. I guess I was so focused on it I didn't hear you come in," said Charlotte, standing in front of Ivy in an apron covered in melted chocolate. "No problem. I haven't been here long, and I can't stay," said Ivy, finishing the last little bit of her free sample. "I just came in to say goodbye." "To me? Are you moving or something?" asked Charlotte, sounding a bit surprised. "No, I'm here to say goodbye to chocolate," answered Ivy. "My mom and dad said I've been eating too much of it, and they took all the chocolate I had in the house." "Wow, that's really sad news. Not just for you, but for me too. Lately, you've been one of my best customers," said Charlotte with a giggle. "But seriously, if you're going to stop eating chocolate, at least make your last chocolatey treat something really special." And before Ivy could say that she already had a free sample and that was going to be her last bite of chocolate for a long while, Charlotte disappeared into the back room. In a few seconds, she rushed back out holding a napkin with a small square of chocolate resting on it. "This is the new chocolate I've been working on, and there's no one I can think of that will appreciate it as much as you," said Charlotte, handing a square of chocolate to Ivy. Ivy quickly thought about her parents and what they would say, but she also thought it would be rude to refuse the tasty treat. After all, Charlotte had worked so hard on it. So not wanting to make Charlotte sad, Ivy took the chocolate and popped it in her mouth. She let it melt on her tongue, enjoying every little flavor, and it was the best chocolate she had ever had in her whole life. She told Charlotte how great it was and said someday she'd be back to have another piece, but for now she had to be heading home. Charlotte told her the secret to the chocolate was a very old, possibly magical recipe that she used. "Just my luck. The day I stop eating chocolate is the day you figure out how to make it magic," giggled Ivy as she waved goodbye to Charlotte and walked out of the shop. Charlotte giggled too, but in the back of her mind she thought, "What if? Just what if that chocolate is a little magic? I guess we'll have to wait and see." As Ivy walked home, Charlotte went back to making chocolate. Little did she know that Ivy would be back a lot sooner than she thought, and she'd have something pretty amazing to tell her. It didn't take Ivy long to get home, and when she arrived, her mom opened the door for her, holding a big plate of oatmeal cookies. "Hungry now?" she asked, holding up the plate of cookies, which just so happened to be one of Ivy's favorites. I'm all set, Mom, but thank you, answered Ivy. Her mom asked her about her walk, trying to get a little smile out of her daughter, but Ivy just said she was fine and walked upstairs to her room. Once inside, Ivy pushed her door shut with her foot and flopped on her bed, and that's when it happened. She was still thinking about chocolate, so she decided to distract herself with some drawing. But when she picked up her favorite marker, something unusual and delicious happened. The marker turned to chocolate, completely chocolate, right before her eyes. Ivy couldn't believe what she was seeing. She assumed that she was just so focused on chocolate at the moment that her eyes were playing tricks on her. She picked up another marker and another, and one after the other, they all turned to chocolate. She touched her notebook, a stuffed animal on her bed, and her soccer ball. Chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. Now, what would you do if everything you touched turned to chocolate? You may be tempted to take a little nibble to see what a chocolate notebook tasted like. Well, that's exactly what Ivy did, and it tasted amazing. Not knowing how long this newfound magic power would last, Ivy began grabbing everything she could. Shirts, necklaces, building blocks, and even her alarm clock were all now 100% chocolate. Ivy continued turning her world and everything in it into chocolate, thinking the whole time that this was the most amazing thing that had ever happened to her. And of course, as she turned things into chocolate, she just had to take a little nibble from each, really enjoying her newfound magical powers. Thanks for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the story and learned a little something too.
And since we know everyone has their own story, we'd love to hear yours.
If you have an idea for a Lively Lewis story, leave a comment on our Apple Podcast review page with 5 stars, your idea, and your little one's name.
Then maybe our next adventure will be with you.
Until our next Storytime Hangout.
Thanks for listening. We can't wait to share another fun Lively Lewis story with you.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.